practicing.
Don't oust me. I'm trying to be secretive about it. Usually people that come on the show are like Ryan McLean, and I'm like, okay, I got that. It's very simple. Okay, we are just waiting for everything to go live. It sometimes just takes a minute to juice itself up.
Which is live.
Okay, Twitch is live. Yep. All right. So I'm going to count it down and then we'll get started. So 3, 2, 1. Hey everyone, welcome to the Roundtable with Vienna Whyte, Season 1, Episode 66. I'm your host, Millie Rouge, from the band Vienna Whyte here in Edmonton, Canada. This Roundtable is a Yeg Music production. I'd like to introduce you to my co-host on the left here for today, Marissa Kay, who makes up the other half of our band, Vienna Whyte. So welcome, Marissa. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. I'm waking up. I got my second cup of coffee. I'm ready to go.
Awesome. Very nice. So I'm going to introduce you now to the rest of our guests we have on the show. So on the right of me, we have 7,000 Apart. They are from Green Bay, Wisconsin. So welcome, guys. And then on our bottom right down here, we have one half of Swedish Jam Factory. We have Thomas here, and they are based in Memphis. And then our last guest, which will be down to my left here, is Teemu Ramo from Denmark, but he's originally born and kind of raised in Finland. So welcome all of our guests today. Thank you for coming on and taking the time to chat with us a little bit more. I just want to open it up and start off the question with, how was your weekend? It is now Monday for me, at least here in Canada. So how was your guys' weekend? What did you get up to?
It's been good. We had a good weekend. We actually were in the other side of Wisconsin, playing a couple shows, all like social distance,
Nice.
Most people were wearing masks and stuff in this beautiful little town of Trempealeau. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but so pretty on the Mississippi River. It was absolutely amazing.
That's amazing to hear you guys have started to get your live music out and going. I know it's for people, they're slowly itching towards it. So it's great to hear.
Basically outdoor things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So nice.
That's awesome. And how about you, Thomas and Teemu? Anything interesting from you guys from this weekend?
I'd say we're just trying to create stuff and make weird Instagram videos. We haven't been able to do any live shows whatsoever lately, so we're literally stuck here, which is, it's interesting. It's definitely a new world order. New
experience, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And how about yourself, Teemu? How's your weekend been so far?
Yeah, it's really nice. I'm currently working on, I got one show coming up next month, so just making sure that the live set is going to work really fine. So tweaking things for that.
Preparing, yeah, absolutely. Well, that's great to hear. I'm glad everyone had a good weekend so far. Now, I actually want to quickly go one by one and kind of learn more about each of you individually. I've done my fair share of Instagram stalking, but I just want to hear from you guys a little bit more about what you do as artists. So 7,000 Apart, why don't you guys kind of start us off and tell us a little bit about kind of who you guys are and how you got into this music journey?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm originally from Stockholm, Sweden, and I came over as an exchange student to the US in 2012. And in music theory class, I met John here in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And, we started hanging out, talking music. One thing led to another. We started dating. And then we actually spent 3 years in a long distance relationship where we were 7,000 kilometers apart from each other. So that's where the name comes from. So we actually started 7,000 Apart as a YouTube project, just to kind of have something in common while we were apart, something to share for, something to post cute things on Instagram and make videos while we were still apart. And then in 2016, we got married and I moved to the US and we've been doing music ever since.
That's awesome to hear. Very cool. Now, I want to hear more about Swedish Jam Factory. I know you guys have a very kind of unique act. I want to hear kind of how you guys kind of got started in music and just where you are now with your musical journey.
Yeah, so I'm born in Stockholm as well, Sweden. And I came here 2009 with a project called Jerk, which was like a tap dancing rock show. And we did that for like 12 years, like touring all over. But when we stopped, I just stayed in the US and I met my wife in Memphis. So I moved here. And then once, being pretty drunk on a porch, I met Isaac, and we started talking about tap dance. And he was a brilliant musician. Like, he played 10 different instruments, and he was a decent tap dancer as well. So we kind of started bonding over that. And one day when we were bored, we just got together and started tapping. And he picked up his mandolin, and I had the piano, and then we just started jamming out. And then we did Sweden's Got Talent, which is the equivalent, obviously, of America's Got Talent. And it went okay. We went to the semifinals, but we just figured that, okay, maybe we have something that works here. So we just kept on going, and we moved to LA, got an agent and a manager, and started getting gigs. And that's where we are now. I guess we're waiting this out now, because I honestly, I think the whole online thing is going to be what we're going to have to focus on right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been an
I like that
adjustment for everyone.
I like that whole attitude of just like, oh yeah, I guess we were okay. We did get to the finals, but I don't know. I guess we were all right. Like, that was great.
Well,
I love it.
Just the semifinals.
Still very,
Love
very
it.
impressive. Now, Teemu, can you tell us a little bit about your musical journey and kind of where you are now and how you got started?
Yeah, so I basically just started with a classical piano around fairly young age, around 5 or 6 years old, and then we switched to the guitar around the age of 13. And later, once I was about to finish the high school, it was time to decide what to do with life. So I decided to go towards like music education, and finally managed to actually get a bachelor's degree from music. And during those studies, I actually was an exchange student here in Denmark, and I saw that this school actually focused more on the artistic side of the music, and that's also where I got the most of the inspiration for being more as an artist than as a guitar teacher. That was basically my degree in Finland focusing on. So I basically then applied for the master's program here in Denmark, and that way I also got more deeply into songwriting and things like that. And that's kind of the reason also why I'm now working more on the songwriting than just writing guitar instrumentals.
That's great to hear. I like that most people, like you've all kind of mentioned you've got some sort of kind of education and background. And I know for Marissa and I, we did something very similar too. So it's very cool to kind of see we all kind of have some similar journeys to some extent. So thank you all for sharing your musical journeys and letting us kind of learn more about each of you individually. So I want to dive into our topic of the day today, which is Scandinavian music. If you didn't realize, there's a common theme here. Most of our artists here are from countries that are from Scandinavia. So my first question I want to kind of ask to you is, does culture matter within your own music? So do you think that it has an importance? Why or why not? Now, I know, John, you're from the States, and I'm pretty sure you're born in the States, but you can still answer this question as well if you'd like. Don't feel shy at all. So anyone who kind of wants to start off, just what do you think about culture within your music? Is it important to you?
Who wants to start?
How about you go, Thomas?
Okay. I would say, like, when I was younger, when I started playing piano, at 10, I was obsessed with Swedish folk music, which was usually played like on fiddle and later accordion. And so instruments like that has always fascinated me tremendously. I did pick up the violin at one point, but I'm terrible at it, so I'm not gonna pursue that for. But like, the style of music, it's a lot in 3/4, so it's very waltzy music and very rhythmical. That has always been like a big part of how I approach music, and especially the instrumentation, like acoustic type of instrumentation. So yeah, I'm very, very influenced by that.
Absolutely.
On the other side, I was a classical musician for a long time as well. So, um, but again, there's plenty of composers who definitely involve um, folk type of music, like European folk music, like Dvorak and Brahms. All that stuff really got to me when I was younger. So,
absolutely. Now for 7,000 Apart, you guys kind of have the mixture of both worlds. You've got a little bit of Sweden, you got a little bit from the United States. So what do you guys think with your own music? Do you find that it has an influence for you both, or do you find it's just more directed at one kind of culture?
No, absolutely. I think it's definitely a mix. And I mean, because of where we grew up and what we listened to when we were younger. And I think for our album, we actually recorded it in Sweden, and we decided to make it very, very simple, as in like we wanted to create something timeless. And I think Swedish music is like, they're very good at that, like the folk music and stuff. Like it's very timeless. It's always gonna,
it's very like linear and very like minimal and very melodic. So the melody really drives it, which I think impacts like pop music a lot. And just like the production style as well is super minimal. So
yeah, I mean, Stockholm is such a pop hub. We called our album organic pop, where we like, it's pop melodies and pop arrangements, but it's only organic instruments. And I think we recorded it in this like little village up in Dalarna in Sweden, which is like the heart of Sweden. And I definitely think you can hear that in our music for sure.
That's really interesting. Very, very cool. I love that. Now, Teemu, what do you think kind of with your culture? Do you think it has an influence in your own music?
Yeah, I think so. There's like plenty of some sort of melancholy in that, like the Finnish folk music. And I think that kind of at least affects to the way how I write music as well. And some of the like the melodies I really enjoy of those as well, and take some influences from them. So I really see that it affects
your music.
Well, and I think that just culture in general, I think that it has I think that it just has like a general, I don't know if it's the same for you guys, but for me, like with my Ukrainian culture, like there's always just like that little feeling that you get when you hear a certain melody, or you hear a certain instrument, and you're just taken back. You're like, oh yes, that's my culture. And like, it's probably implemented in your music in some way, shape, or form, that someone's going to listen to it and say, oh, that's my culture. So, or at least that it is for me. But I'm curious to know for all of you guys, who's your favorite Scandinavian artist, just in general? And you're not allowed to say yourself.
I like it.
Well, right now it has to be 7,000 Apart, of course.
So sweet, so sentimental.
I listened through your stuff, guys. It's fantastic. It's great.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. We appreciate that so much. Thank you. We have not listened to you guys yet. I'm very excited to watch those fun Instagram videos that you were talking about, though.
They're so cool.
That's what we're doing right after this. So I'm super excited about that. I think there's so much good music coming out of Sweden. And right now it's very much the what's like popular is music in Swedish, which I think is really cool. That really came back, because for a while, with Max Martin and everyone, like they mostly did pop music in English, so that it was like more worldwide and stuff. But the last 5-10 years, they've been focusing a lot on Swedish music, like in Swedish, which I think is really fun. And like, I try to go to, Spotify's New Music Friday Sweden list every week. And it's so cool to see that there's so much good music being made in Swedish.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Wasn't a specific artist, but still.
Just like in
I mean, an old acquaintance, Molly Sandén, is making fantastic Swedish music. She was also the voice. I don't know if you've seen it, but the new Eurovision Song Contest movie on Netflix. Did you guys watch it yet?
No.
It was awesome.
It's so good. Oh my gosh. And she does the voice for Rachel McAdams, and it's awesome.
No, it's seriously, it's like a documentary. It's fantastic.
It's so
like,
good.
grew up with the Eurovision Song Contest. It like totally get it. It's fantastic.
That's so amazing. Teemu, who are some of your recommendations for someone who is not from Denmark or listens to Finnish music? Who would you recommend that people like us Canadians should listen to?
Well, my favorite like a Finnish pop band is Poets of the Fall. That's what I would highly recommend checking out.
I cannot pronounce that whatsoever.
Okay.
But you'll have to link us to that, because that's what kind of music, like what kind of genre is it? Like what style?
Like Poets of the Fall is like, I think it's like pop rock or something like that.
Okay.
It has
cool.
changed quite a lot. It's probably like the biggest indie band in Finland.
Oh, okay. That's really cool. I'll have to check that out.
Absolutely. So I want to know, and this might be something I think all of you have some experience with. I'm not sure, Teemu, if this might be as applicable for you, but if you have anything on it, please feel free to add. But what would you say are the major differences between the Scandinavian music scene compared to the States, for example? What are some big things you've noticed? Now, I know, Thomas, you've had some experience with obviously the music scene in the States and as well 7,000 Apart. So why don't you guys kind of start us off with what you think of this?
Yeah, for sure. We can start quick. I think it's interesting because we were really happy that we could start our music journey kind of in the US, because there's so many more venues for really small artists to play at. There's more open mics. There's more restaurants that have live music. It's more of that culture. And so like for a small artist, just like learning how to perform, I think it's a really, really great place to be. But in Sweden, there's less of those like smaller venues, but more of those medium big venues. And you actually like get paid well when you actually do a concert. Here, it's a lot of like, oh, you play for tips, or sometimes you get paid by the hour or whatever. And it's a lot of cover bands here as well. While in Sweden, it's not as common, except for like at the ski resorts, there's always like cover bands. But so if you want to get started, I think it was really cool for us to start our journey in the US, to play those small venues, get our like feet wet or whatever. Is that an expression? I think that's an expression. I always have to check. I always have to check with John. And just like get over that hump of like performing is scary. But then I think we would love to be able to tour in Sweden and in Europe and stuff too. We've been lucky enough to have worked with So Far Sounds, if you guys know who they are. So that has been fantastic to like be able to see more places, and we're super excited to do more of that in Europe as well.
Absolutely. Now, Thomas, what do you think are the major differences between music from Scandinavia / the States, for example?
I'm not entirely sure if this is true, but I'm thinking that because America is so much bigger, there's so many more people, I just feel that there's more room for versatility here. Like there's just more types of music. And even if you do something really fringe, which I sometimes, like for instance, if you go to our Spotify page, it's completely different from the Instagram stuff that we do. We sound more like some dated pop punk band, which always has been like very close to my heart, because I grew up a lot with my teenage years was Swedish punk music, and because of that I just kept it. And whenever we have like a song we feel, oh, this is fun, we release it on Spotify. But again, it's like completely different from Instagram, the stuff we have there. But I will say that we have gotten much more good response from America than Sweden for that type. Sweden seems to be a little bit like, it's yesterday's news, that stuff. But again, I'm not entirely sure if it's true, because I haven't been that much in Sweden lately, like the last few years. So, but if anything, I would say that it just feels like you can experiment more in America. But again, I'm not positive.
I think that's
my feel.
Totally right. I think you can definitely find your niche, and you can find your people a lot easier, especially if you like are good at like the whole social media marketing. You can really like find those people, because they're are so many people and so many different, like with such different heritages too, obviously, like and I think that that's great for if you're looking for like your specific audience, since you guys are doing something that's really, really unique. I definitely think you're right about that. For us, I think our music is a little bit more, I feel like our music is more appreciated in Sweden. And like Swedes, like actually, like when they go to a concert, you know, they're quiet and they listen.
Yeah.
Well, here it's a lot like we play in corners of bars where everyone's talking, and it's like if you get claps after every song, you're like, yes. And sometimes it's like, oh, people aren't clapping, okay, I guess we just move on,
Just
you know.
keep going.
Yeah. You gotta have a kind of a thick skin here, and you can't take it too like personal.
Yeah, because I've heard that in places like in when I was in Ukraine, it was almost like a similar thing. But I'm curious though, in Denmark, what's the scene like there in Denmark?
Yeah, I see that there are some possibilities here for music, but at least I'm mostly focusing on the social media right now, so I managed to find my audience from the States actually, so that's where my most of the following and actually streams are based on. So
interesting.
Which is, yeah, it is interesting actually to see that it has gone that way, but also like building a local audience is, I see it's important, but yeah, I'm taking my time with that as well. So because I live in the northern part of the country where I see that there's less competition, but also there are less possibilities as well, like compared to the capital city of the country.
Well, and it's interesting that you mentioned that most of your fans are from the States, which is like for us in Canada, it's anytime we check our listeners, it's like, oh, someone from the Netherlands. We're like, what is going on? And it's just, it's really cool that that's the kind of thing. It's like we kind of reach for the things that aren't in our local area, which is kind of cool. That you're able to get all those watchers over there. Do you ever stream your music? Like, do you play live shows online or anything like that? Since you mentioned that you're more in the social media stuff.
Yeah, I have a little bit experimented with that, but it's a thing that I'm still figuring out how to do it properly.
I was gonna say you should hop on Twitch. We'll follow you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll do that. You sold that idea.
We've been using an app called YouNow lately, the last like month and a half. And it's been so good. Like the community on there is amazing. So if you want to try out a new streaming service too, like we tried Twitch and we had like one person watching, and then we tried YouNow and we've gotten 1,000 fans over the last 1,000 followers.
Oh, sick.
Over the last 2 weeks. And and it's really cool because you can like guest on each other's streams, which is super cool. So you can have like open mic things,
cool.
and you can have like songwriting rounds, and it's super fun.
And share audiences.
Interesting.
Me and Marissa are like,
I can tell you more.
yeah.
We've had so much fun on there.
That's really, really cool. So yeah, I guess Marissa, you had the next question here.
Yeah. Well, one of the questions I wanted to ask was for you guys specifically, what are some differences that you've seen between Scandinavian artists now in 2020 compared to 10 or 15 years ago?
I mean, the biggest thing, it's what I mentioned earlier, is that people actually sing in Swedish right now. That's a major change for sure.
Really? Wow.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, I always thought about that too. Like, there was this long period where people were literally only singing in English in Sweden, which of course makes sense because you want to reach a bigger audience.
Yeah.
We did this thing with a group called Smith and Tell. They're like a pop duo in Sweden, and it went like incredibly well for them. Like they had this hit song in Sweden. It's like 60 million streams now on Spotify.
They're stupid talented. They're like a songwriting duo as well, and write for a lot of people. Wow. The guy actually, the Molly Sandén that I mentioned before, he produced her latest album. So they're like such a power couple.
Yeah, no, and it went incredibly well for them. But again, they sing in English. I guess that's I think they made it to the alternative Billboard. They were like on 25 with the song that we're on.
Because they have like
My Friend.
Yeah, because they also have kind of that Americana sound, so it works super well in the US.
That's what it is, right?
Yeah.
Totally.
Yes.
It's very American. It's very little Swedish influence in their stuff. Maria, I don't remember if she had, I guess, an American mom or something like that.
Okay.
Her last name is Smith.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure, but I mean,
they're also very, very good.
Yeah, they're brilliant. But I guess I would also, it would be nice to hear even more in Swedish since, but again, then, locally it's going to be easier possibly, but harder internationally. For some reason, I'm not sure why.
Yeah.
Almost everything is in English if you think about it.
Yeah. Except like the really big ones like Zara Larsson and Robin, and they've like stayed with their English because I know that they really want to make it in the US. But it's cool to see that if you go on like top 50 in Sweden, it's going to be Swedish songs, and like Swedish rap music has also gotten like a huge upswing lately.
Oh, very cool.
So that's also really, really cool to see.
Oh, I remember that guy Timbuktu. He was fantastic.
So good.
He raps in Swedish with a southern accent, like a Swedish southern accent, and he's absolutely brilliant. I love his stuff.
I'm just going to cut in for 1 second. We are going to take a quick intermission. We ran out of time on our Zoom call, so we're going to recall everyone back, and we'll be back in just a minute here. Okay?
Hold that thought.
Cool.
Oh, is this the new one? Okay.
And we're back.
We're missing someone.
We're back.
We're missing.
We're just
we're
waiting for
missing
Teemu.
one more.
He'll be here in a second.
Okay. Sorry, Zoom, for whatever reason, we have to buy a new plan because it
I-
only allows 40 minutes, which is super frustrating.
Yep.
You can try Google Meet. Otherwise, it's been really, really good.
Yeah, I've experimented with that one a little bit, but Zoom I know like for a short while they had a period where you could they removed the 40-minute time limit because they gave it to people that were working in schools. So I was actually working in a school before kind of COVID, so I just used my email and I got in for free. So I was like, hey, but I think now that it's summer, they're like, we're gonna take that back now, and I'm like, oh
Yeah. Also, just really quick, we got a comment from Twitch here. From Positive Cynthia said, "Oh my God, yay! My favorite people, 7,000 apart."
Cynthia's so sweet. She's one of the people that we met on You Now, actually.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
okay,
so
very cool.
Yeah.
She's super duper sweet.
Is it spelt like with is it you and then just now, or is it like the
No,
word
you as in you.
the word? Okay.
You now.
Cool.
Yeah,
All one word,
it's
yeah.
both on desktop and on phone.
On phone. Okay, I'll have to check this out. This
Yeah.
looks really cool. I've seen so
Yeah.
many like live streaming platforms. It's kind of like, which one do you go to? Because there's almost like
Same.
too many now, you know?
Quite a few, and this one, like, we got a response right away. And there are people there, like kind of talent scouts that go on and they help you like get guest on other people and build your fan base. And
they kind of take you under their wing and just like bring you on all the big channels. So like they let you guest on other people's channels that have like 100,000.
That's really cool.
So it's really cool.
It's still like, it was huge, like probably like 5-8 years ago. Like Tonics were on there, like everyone was on there. And then I think it just kind of died down, but they've added a bunch of new features. I think the guesting thing, wasn't that added like this year?
HD streaming too.
And HD streaming. So I think it's going to get a little upswing, hopefully. We're hoping, because it's so great. We just want to see like the audience grow. Would be really cool as well.
Yeah. Well, I think like with the Instagram lives, I think that's a really cool feature that you can bring people in, because we did a lot of, Marissa was hosting a whole like segment show of that. But I found like just tech wise, there's a lot of issues with the Instagram live because it's a very new like idea they introduced. So I'd be curious to see if this one's it looks more reliable in my opinion, but I mean, I'd have to try it out to really know, but that's really cool.
Had a few problems here and there, but in general, it's been really, really great. And you can eventually, if you get partnered, you can also make money off the platform, which is really cool.
So do people donate to you? Is that kind of how it works, or?
Yeah, so people give likes, and you can also subscribe to people, which is kind of like Patreon. So you pay like a monthly fee in order to get specific.
They can watch your streams back without having to like watch it live.
For instance,
whenever they want, kind of thing.
Like subscriber mode on, so only the subscribers can comment. And
this is like, that's very similar to Twitch, so that sounds well pretty much identical, but that's really interesting.
But there's a lot of musicians on you now, which is cool.
Because Twitch is more gamers, like video gamers, which we are not. So
exactly.
Yeah. Marissa, did you get a response from Teemu?
I sent him all the links. I think he's on his way.
Okay. We hope. All right.
He's coming.
Sorry about that little pause we had, a little hiccup. So I guess for the time being, what we could do, we could move on to our next question, and then if Teemu comes in, I'll just put him right in.
I'm just resending him the link here. He said the first one didn't work, so I'm just going to resend it.
Okay, then he's probably on his way. Okay.
Yes.
So in the meantime, I'll just kind of chat with you guys until he gets in here. But our next question we had for all of you are, in your opinion, what would you say is the most popular genre of music from your specific area of Scandinavia where you were born, or kind of where you've traveled into? What have you noticed have been the biggest genres in general that you've seen?
I mean, pop is huge in Stockholm for sure. And as I said before, like Swedish rap has also like really got an upswing lately, which is cool.
What kind of rap is it, if you know by chance? Like, is it
like what?
I mean, I'm really not versed in the hip hop scene.
That's okay.
But it's not really. I wish I could give you some examples, but yeah, I mean, if you go on New Music Friday Sweden, it's the first like songs are gonna be that kind of stuff, and also pop combining with rap. Like, there's a group called Norling KKV that do like, one guy's a singer and one guy's a rapper. So like, but it's still like super duper pop.
Yeah.
So I think that combination is also very, very popular.
And do you find, John, like, I know you said like I'm assuming, like, I don't know actually where you were born, but I'm assuming it was the States. What kind of genres have you kind of seen in Scandinavia that maybe was different from like you being obviously born in the States? Did you notice anything different?
I mean, I think the biggest difference between at least where we live right now and Sweden is like here it's all like rock and like a lot of classic rock and a lot of Americana and stuff like that. Sweden country Sweden is very much pop. Like it's pop. There's like, I'm trying to think, there's a little bit of folk.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's primarily
some singer-songwriter stuff as well.
Primarily pop, and like, I mean, people playing with tracks and people like doing electronic based music and stuff like that, which for me was really like different, you know, like
everyone here has a band.
Yeah, here it's kind of like shunned like to do pop music. It's like
oh, you play with tracks? What?
Yeah, exactly. So it's just kind of and I would also say the biggest difference is like Sweden focuses a lot on vocals, like voices in general.
Yes, that's very true.
Like
Here it's more like, can you do the
In America in general, I would think it's like more instrument.
And
like,
can you play that solo from like I don't know,
aside from
Sweet
like
Home
the upper,
Alabama or something?
aside from like the upper level, you know.
Yeah.
But Sweden focuses a lot on melody and voices.
Absolutely. So I'm just a sec here. I sent. Okay, he's still having some troubles getting in.
Yeah.
So I just feel
Thomas,
bad.
what do you think?
Oh,
Sorry.
Yeah,
Thomas,
we're
what do
trying
you
to
think
get
about
him back in here. He's having some issues. He's like, help, I need to get in. Like the equivalency of like him knocking on the window, be like, hello. We're trying to get him. We're trying to get him there. In via email.
Okay.
Teemu, where are you? So yeah, sorry guys. Just give us 1 second. We're just trying to get him in because he's been sitting outside on Instagram. He's like, help.
Help.
So I think we can try to invite him just like in his email. I think we'll try that.
I just sent that to him, so it should work now, hopefully. Sometimes I find with cell phones on Zoom, it's a little bit more difficult, and I don't know, laptops are just more convenient. I don't know why, but they seem to work a little bit better.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone's ever had this issue with Zoom before, but it's always a good time. Always with the internet, you always got some kind of technical difficulty. It's just a thing. But
Definitely.
all right, we're gonna try to get him back in here in just a sec.
So did you guys get married in the States?
We actually got married in Sweden, and then we moved to the US right after. But we had like a little, American reception here too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did
How
you
about
apply
you guys?
for? We got married in Memphis.
Nice.
Did you apply for? I think I saw on your Instagram. You just got your 10-year green card, right? That's fantastic.
Ooh.
Are you applying for citizenship as well?
Yeah, I just applied for it too. It's very delayed, obviously.
Yeah,
with
exactly.
everything going on, but hopefully I'll have it at the beginning of next year.
Fantastic.
How about you? Do you have your American citizen?
I have my citizenship because I jumped on it like in 2016 when I was like, okay, this is not going to be safe to be an immigrant in America. So yeah, I was jumping on it, and
good.
I got it pretty fast. Actually, it was pretty simple.
No, my lawyer said, my lawyer friend, whatever. I've had like 2 15-minute conversations with her. She's like the sweetest person. She's also Finnish. But yeah, when I talked to her about it, she said it was going to take like 2 to 3 months, like super chill. But then because of everything that happened, it's like 8 months.
Yeah.
Maybe more. We'll have to see what happens.
But we were actually originally planning on living in Stockholm.
Yeah.
But because of the world's been like
crazy ever since
it was
we got
like
married.
the refugee crisis over in Sweden, like and Europe, like in general, that really hit like when we were trying to go over there. And
so right after we applied for John's like Swedish green card right when we got engaged, and it took so long that we had to move to the US, and I had to apply for green card in order for us to be together. Usually that also only takes like 2-3 months, and it took over a year, so that was also like so annoying.
So you have a Swedish green card now?
No, he had one, but it expired.
I did expire.
Gotcha.
We couldn't elongate it because we had to go through license.
So when are you planning on moving back? And I'm like, whenever I'm like, it's citizenship. But I don't know when that is. So it's a
lot.
It's a mess. Like 2 countries is a mess. Like
no, it is. Yeah, no, we've been talking about it too. Like, maybe it would be possible, to be there for a while, a few years at least. But I have no experience in getting a Swedish green card for my wife, so I guess we have to see.
It's super easy.
It's just like
so
it's
easy.
online. It's only $100 instead of like $3,000.
Oh, really?
It's really nice.
It's like a couple pages of.
Yeah, you just have to be like, we met this. And
American one was I think 80 pages of documents that you had to send in by mail.
Yes.
Yeah, no, then there was a lot. Yeah.
Well, maybe we need to move to Sweden, Marissa.
I was gonna say,
it's that easy.
Canada's
that sounds great.
Yeah.
I think Canada seems fantastic.
Yeah.
Do you guys know Genesia, by the way? I would assume.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah. Is that how you guys found us, or?
No.
We just searched through hashtags. We searched through Swedish music. I think what was the hashtag we searched? It was like music.
Scandinavian. I don't know.
I don't remember
back.
the hashtag.
Oh.
He's back.
Hello. All right. Let's
Thank
keep our
goodness,
ball
yay.
rolling. Thank you so much for coming back in, everybody. We were just asking the last question about 2020 compared to what it was like 10 to 15 years ago. And then I just asked these two what their opinion is the most popular genre in kind of where you're from in Scandinavia. So, Teemu, can you kind of tell us in Denmark, what you think the most kind of popular genres are that you've noticed, or even in Finland, what are some popular genres of music?
Like right now, or yeah, I think it's like the pop music and rap music are like both like combined, like they are really popular. But also, well, in Finland also there is plenty of the metal scene going on. Because
That's not
I
very
think there is
cool.
exactly, because like the amount of metal bands compared to the population is, I guess it's around the highest level of
definitely
in the world.
I'm sure you're right. It's great.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, I think Norway or Sweden is the second one on those stats.
Very cool. So yeah, Marissa, you're the next little bit there.
So my next question for you guys specifically, what are the most popular instruments in your genre of music, or in just Scandinavian folk music in general?
I guess acoustic guitar must still be, the foundation for almost all like folk inspired or acoustic inspired pop music, definitely. Do you think that's correct? Like, I still think you hear like an acoustic guitar in almost all productions, even electronic productions.
Really?
That is
but
really interesting.
Very little. Like, there's so much electronic music though, like in all genres. Like, even if you make like a foundation of acoustic music, you use so much.
So like to make it to make it sound Scandinavian, you would have to have like an acoustic guitar in there somewhere.
I mean, not necessarily. I mean, kind of. I mean, take like Avicii, for instance, like especially his later stuff, like it has a lot of like country influences with those like real guitars.
Yeah.
And so, but again, I think what really makes Swedish music stand out is really good vocals plus really like catchy melodies. But yeah, there's a lot of electronic music for sure.
Absolutely.
Like,
so my next question is, if you could switch bodies with any Scandinavian artist and live their life for a couple days, let's say, and then get to go back to your normal body, who would you choose and why? Who would you want to be?
Can I say ABBA? I know that's not a... Can I say ABBA?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, I think either like Molly Sandén and Zara Larsson, or like my favorite, like there's this woman, her name is Helene Sjöholm, and she has like the most amazing voice, and she does a lot of musical theater, which is another side of me, whatever. And just being able to like perform her stuff would be really, really cool too. That's awesome. For sure.
Yeah. I think I go with ABBA, honestly. Like, I can I kind of relate to Benny Andersson, the guy who wrote and composed most of the music. Like, I have to say, he is one of the best composers like of the century in that respect, because he's so versatile, and he's very private. He hardly does any interviews. You know nothing about him. He just keeps to himself, and he's like incredibly rich, probably from all that.
Swedes are so like in general, like you're not gonna find like that Swedes have like 10 houses around the world. They're usually like they have their 1 or 2 houses, and they're like kind of chill. They don't like, they don't like spend money like this, and usually pretty humble and chill, which is really cool.
That's really interesting.
Teemu, what about you?
Yeah, I'd probably pick a Finnish metal guitarist, Aleksi Laiho. He's probably one of the I guess most like awarded Finnish guitarists. So it would be nice to see like a day in his, like what is the day in his life like.
Absolutely.
Kind of like a fly on the wall type thing. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Plus, I think like, I guess my question is, do you get all the same, like, I know it's not like a superhero, but do you get all the same powers as those people?
You get
when you're
everything
in their
they
body?
have. Yeah, everything they have. The money, the looks, the talent.
The talent. Okay, great.
So Abba's a good choice.
And I chose ABBA just because, you know, I would like to be all four of them at one point in general, but I think that'd be incredible. But the other part of it too is that, I mean, ABBA's traveled kind of all around the world, which leads me into my next question, which is, if you guys had to choose anywhere to tour in the world, where would you like to tour and why?
Well, for now, I would say, but that's because I haven't toured there yet. Like, I would love to go to Japan and and even China, honestly. But I guess I have a lot of friends who toured China, and it's kind of tricky for many reasons, of course. But Japan seems absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I would say that. Australia would be nice. I haven't really been there either.
Yeah, just watch out for the spiders.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I don't want to go.
Poisonous.
Yeah.
Really, seriously.
Tap dancing, you just tap the spiders away.
Yeah.
Yep. But it's true. It seems like almost every single animal is out to kill you. But maybe that's me being prejudiced because I've never been.
It's all the memes online. Like you just like can't get away from those.
I think it would be super cool also to tour Europe by train or something, like just guitar, just like show up to like awesome venues and just like with So Far or something, just like tour with train, because I'm like getting tired of driving everywhere.
I actually met an artist who did an entire tour through India, actually through So Far Sounds. So she's actually from Edmonton here, but she was like, I basically did the whole thing through there. Like, it really didn't cost me very much because it was just, they basically helped her book majority of it. So far,
you're talking about Riel.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. She did a whole talk about it one day. It's really inspiring that she did that, but it's possible. Anyone can do it. But
yeah. Well, like even the two of us, we've talked about, we're like, we would love to go to like our namesake. We're like, we'd love to go to Vienna and just like tour Austria.
Be like, we have your name.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And they're like, okay.
We don't care.
Yeah, you get to be huge there. You just like market it as like
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Teemu, where would you tour if you had the chance? If COVID was not a thing, where would you tour right now?
I don't know. It's like all the Europe is, there's so many like different countries, like just going through the whole Europe would be like really exciting thing to do as well. And of course, States is probably, because it's so huge country, so there's a lot of possibilities there to see as well.
Absolutely. So much to explore. It'd be a long tour, but it would be very, very fun.
Exactly. Like going through the whole country, all the states.
I was also going to make a request. If you go through Canada, can you please go through more than just Toronto?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Don't go to Vancouver and Toronto.
Don't go to Vancouver and Toronto. If you're gonna tour Canada, at least come to our neck of the woods. At least come to Edmonton.
Yeah. We're planning on it. Like as soon as because we know Genesia who live in your town. So like we've talked, because they came down to us and stayed a couple nights, did a couple shows with us. So we've been like, next day we come to you. So hopefully we can do that. That would be so fun.
That would be amazing. I love that. So we have one last question before we're finished for today. And it's a very simple question, but what is your favorite thing about Scandinavian music? What really draws you into your culture and the music that you play? What's your favorite thing about it?
I think just the simplicity. To be honest.
Yeah, I'd say so as well. It's nice. It's like super difficult because they just like condense everything in such a simple way, like that it works. Like it's like simple enough but still interesting. Like I mean, Max Martin is a big example of that. Like only having 3 or 4 things happening at one time so people can digest it all, but it's still interesting enough that you can listen to it multiple times and still find it interesting. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. How about you, Thomas?
I would have to go back like to the folk music and artists that are inspired by that. And we had a few people who I guess you would equate them with like Bob Dylan, like where the lyrics really are the main focus. And when I grew up, like Stefan Sundström was one guy that I listened a lot to, and I really love that stuff. It's very folk inspired music, but then like very in your face lyrics, and it's very literary, I guess. But I think that's my favorite part of Swedish music. And yeah, I guess like the modern pop music, I'm simply not like into it that much. So I feel like a dinosaur sometimes in that sense.
Don't we all?
You go back to your roots. No, I think that's a good thing. It's good that everyone has their own niche, and it really does kind of vary on the age, I think, too. As much as people don't think it has an effect, it does, because the newer generation they're into a little, I don't know, their musical taste is very interesting. Like they really like that. Yeah, they really like super produced tracks. But then I have seen sometimes, like on TikTok, for example, there's lots of Generation Z. They really appreciate like the Frank Sinatra music, and I find that so interesting. I'm like, they're almost bringing back classics and like regurgitating them into their own remixes or their own versions. So they obviously appreciate the older stuff
definitely.
that was there. But yeah, it's interesting to see.
I actually have a stepdaughter, and she's 13, and she well, first of all, she's a brilliant singer herself. Like she's really good, but she's obviously into, you know, Ariana Grande and music like that. Yeah. But she totally gets it when you play like Queen or Aretha Franklin and stuff like that. Like she hears the musicality and she understands how difficult it is what they're doing. Yeah. So I have hope for the younger generation.
I do too, yeah.
Not to say that Ariana Grande isn't fantastic, of course. Like that's amazing in its own right. But it's nice to see that they appreciate older stuff as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of older stuff, the more Teemu, I know you did a lot more. Like you were more of like the classical side. So what's your take on that?
Yeah. What was the question?
So
favorite things about Scandinavian music.
Yeah, favorite things about Scandinavian music.
Favorite things. Yeah, I'd say, you know, the simplicity is kind of a way that I really enjoy. That it's possible to see there, and I think that the sound in general is what I enjoy. To be honest, I don't really follow that much or a lot of like what is currently happening in the music scene, but as much as I do that, then. I think that like the simple elements there are the thing that I really enjoy.
Yeah, well, I think there's beauty in simplicity too, and I think that we often feel like we have to be super complicated to be taken seriously as a musician, but oftentimes it's more of like the simple arrangements and the simplicity and things that actually speak more. What's that saying? Less is more, or whatever they say. The Charmin.
Yeah. I don't know. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I get you.
Yeah, so exactly.
That was actually our last question for the day. We are out of time, but we are so lucky to have had everyone on today. If you guys are at home watching this roundtable with Vienna Whyte on YouTube or Twitch, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell button so you can be notified about all of our shows that we host. We do a live album review every Monday to Friday on YouTube and Twitch. So there's lots of content to see. So if you want to hear this conversation through a podcast form, just search up the Vienna Whyte podcast on Spotify, and there you will find it. I'm your host, Millie Rouge, and thank you to Marissa Kay on my right for being our co-host today. Marissa, where can you find our band on the internet?
You can find all of our socials at Vienna Whyte on Instagram. Vienna, like the city, Whyte spelled with a Y, as in Whyte Avenue here in Edmonton, Alberta. At Vienna Whyte on Instagram.
Awesome. And now I'm going to get each of you just to go ahead and say your stage name and where our audience can find you on social media. So 7,000, can you start us off?
Yeah, so we're 7,000 apart everywhere, no spaces, just 7,000 apart on pretty much everything: Instagram, YouTube, YouNow, all of those things.
Awesome. And Thomas, can you let us know what your stage name is and where our audience can find you?
Yeah, so Swedish Jam Factory. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify
Awesome. And
with
Teemu.
that name.
Yes, I'm Teemu Ramo, basically on everywhere, and on Spotify. On Instagram, it's just with 3 E's, and then on YouTube, you can just search by my name, and you'll find some content.
Fantastic. Well, thank you everyone so much. It was great meeting you all, and have a great day. Bye.
Thanks for having
Thanks.
us.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks for having me. Goodbye.